Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about the W7 Whatever palette. I asked my followers on Instagram to vote between products for what I would be reviewing next, and this came out top, and I am pretty excited to try it out. I have not swatched it, I have not touched it, I haven't even removed the protective packaging from inside, so I really can't wait to get my hands into this one. Before we get into the video, I just wanted to say a bit of a thank you for all the love on my latest video. All the comments have been really supportive and it's been doing really well. So if you haven't watched it yet, I will link it up in the cards for you to check out. And welcome to all of the new subscribers that have come from that video. Thank you for joining. If you keep coming back to watch my videos but you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, make sure you do so that you don't miss out on my next video. So let's jump into the palette. So this is the W7 Whatever Totally Random Pressed Pigment palette. So this has been out for a few weeks at this point, but I did really want to review this. There have been a few releases since then, like the Vivid Pigments palette and some other ones. I mean, W7 release makeup almost as fast as Makeup Revolution do. It's quite crazy how many new items they keep coming up with, so there's no way that I could possibly keep up. But I really wanted to try this one because when you open it up, you can see it's still got the plastic on there, but of course it's a dupe for the Anastasia Riviera palette. Now, I really wanted the Riviera palette. It was probably up until now one of the most exciting palettes that Anastasia had actually done. I got pretty excited over the original Norvina palette, but ended up quite disappointed by it. I've just not really used it that much, and so I figured after that I would wait a bit, be responsible, not just jump in and buy the Riviera palette straight away. I would save up for it, and then Anastasia just kept releasing more and more palettes this year, and I didn't end up buying any of them. So I kind of completely missed out on the Riviera palette hype, but when I saw this one, I had to try it. Mostly because it is $9.95 compared to £46 for the Anastasia palette, which is a lot of money that not everyone can just afford whenever they want, but a tenner, happy to give the palette a go for that price. So the palette comes in cardboard packaging. I think the packaging is actually really cute, the pattern's really adorable, and it does match up to the shades on the inside. On the back, as always, we've got a diagram of the palette. It's just got the shades, and they are numbered either 1 or 2 depending on whether they are a matte shade or a shimmer shade, and we have 2 separate ingredient lists for them here. We don't have any information on here regarding cruelty-free status or being vegan, so I assume it's not vegan, but there is information on W7's website about their commitment to being cruelty-free. They just haven't got the leaping bunny symbol anywhere. I mean, it's a bit beyond my knowledge what that means, but there is information on the website if you want to check it out. I'll try and remember to link that page down below. And the final piece of information, we are getting 10.5 grams of product in total. So let's just compare that to how much you get in the Anastasia palette. So we've got 0.75 gram per shadow, and Anastasia is 0.73 according to Cult Beauty. So we're actually getting, I mean, a tiny amount of extra eyeshadow, not much at all, but you are actually getting a little bit more product for a lot less money. So if this is good quality, it's also a really good deal. The palette is just kept closed with a magnet. It's pretty standard. The whole thing does feel pretty light, not particularly expensive. Just to compare it to one of the actual Anastasia palettes, this one does feel a little bit more weighty, but the whole thing does just feel a little bit more expensive. Makeup Revolution does have some very nice packaging for a tenner, so I feel like maybe this does feel quite cheap for the price. And then when you open it up, this is the inside. So you do have a mirror, and then you've got the plastic, which I haven't removed, so we are gonna do that now. The palette comes with a brush, which is very similar to the Anastasia brushes. It's double-ended. Now, I don't actually keep the Anastasia brushes. I think I've gotten rid of them. This one feels quite soft, and then this one feels nice and stiff. I'm not gonna use them. I'd I'd rather test the eyeshadows with my own brushes to see how they compare to other ones, but I'll just put it away for now. And then there you go, here are the shadows. So we have 14 shadows. You are getting 8 mattes and 6 shimmers, and the colour scheme is just absolutely gorgeous. I know that W7 hasn't come up with it, but look at it. Completely inappropriate for this time of year, I realise that, but it is stunning, and I'm glad I got this to try this out. So this is another pressed pigment palette, which after my experience with the Vivid Pigments palette, I'm somewhat apprehensive about. I mean, the mattes were gorgeous, and again, we've got a really bright pink, so I feel like that's gonna perform really, really well again. I really hope the shimmers are not the same formula as they were in the Vivid Pigments, because I did not get along with them. And this is also one of the things that put me off buying the Riviera palette in the first place. When it comes to the Anastasia palettes, the Modern Renaissance only has 2 shimmers, and they are absolutely amazing, absolutely brilliant. And then for me, they've just kind of always been hit and miss. Subculture, absolutely awful. I always mention that. Unusable shimmers. The Prism palette, the shimmers in that one are quite nice, to be fair. And then the Norvina, I was so disappointed with the shimmers. I did not think they were easily usable. Some of them were as bright as I thought they might be in the palette, and they had absolutely no staying power. So considering that there were 6 shimmers in the Riviera palette, I was a little bit put off, and I am concerned after the experience I had with the other W7 palettes. But the best thing to do is just to jump in, so let's get down to some swatching. So first of all is the matte white, which is Blank Stare. Then we have Dazed. That's very pretty. And then we have the shimmering blue, which is Confused. Straight away, this is not the same formula that we had in the Vivid Pigments palette. This is nowhere near as chunky. This is a lot more opaque. Not quite as bright as I had hoped, but no fallout, no chunkiness, so hopefully a good sign. Next up, we have Hooky, then Grey Days, Gold Card. This one does feel a bit more chunky. The final shimmer is Fake ID. Looks a bit chunky again. It definitely felt the softest of them all, but that is a gorgeous colour. Then Says Who. Oh, okay, that's a chunky matte. Then Mustard. Yeah, the mattes are a little bit chunky. Similar to what they were in the Vivid Pigments, I would say. Then Preachy. Pop Art, Bubbles, Royal, and Chippy. So those mattes have swatched pretty well. The one that swatched the worst is the matte white. That purple looks amazing. I am a lot more excited about the shimmer formula than I was in the Vivid Pigments. I think these look really nice. I think they've swatched absolutely beautifully. I've just quickly taken a look at the ingredient lists just to compare the formulas between these palettes. The shimmer formulas look like they are quite different. There are ingredients that are in one and not the other, so they are definitely different shimmer formulas. Comparing the matte formula, it looks like the ingredients are pretty much the same in between the two. There's just a little bit of a difference in the order that they are actually listed in, which means the quantities are different. But overall, I think the matte formula in between the two products is going to be a lot more similar than the shimmer formula. I'm just looking at the palettes now. I thought there would be more shade similarities, but maybe not. The only ones I can see, this is Pop Art from the Whatever palette. This is the pink from Punchy Pink. I mean, pretty similar. The one from Punchy Pink is just a bit brighter, but not a huge difference. And then this is Bubbles from Whatever, and again, this is from Punchy Pink. Again, Punchy Pink is just a bit brighter and just a bit pinker, so there's not a lot of crossover between the palettes at all, which is a good thing. I am going to assume that Pop Art and Royal, so the pink and the purple, that as they are pressed pigments, they are most likely going to stain. I did get staining in the Vivid Pigments video, so if I do, I will just take a photo tonight just to show you. I'm just going to go and quickly prime my eyes with the P. Louise base, and we are finally going to jump into this palette. I am so excited about this one. And which colour am I going to start with? I'm going to go straight into Royal, which is that gorgeous purple. I'm just taking that on a Zoeva 231, and I'm going to pack that into my outer corner. I mean, wow. Look at that pigmentation. having to dip my brush back in every now and then to build it up, but that is really nice. Not really got any fallout either just yet, which I've probably jinxed it right now. I think I'm always impressed when it comes to a nice purple eyeshadow, even though there's so many out there nowadays. I just remember starting watching YouTube and just always hearing like, oh, purple eyeshadows are really difficult to formulate, they're never that nice. And like now, there's an affordable brand that's just making this. Yeah. I'm just impressed. For the next colour, it's gotta be Pop Art, and I'm just using that on another Zoeva 231 to blend that out. So again, it's just taking a little bit of building up, but once you've got it, it is a nice colour. It's also not particularly powdery in the palette. I definitely noticed a lot more fallout in the palette with the vivid pigments. I'm just not really getting that as much with this one. I'm gonna bring that forwards above my crease. Again, this is just an absolutely beautiful shade. Like I said, there's just a little bit of building up involved, but once it's on, I wonder how these would perform if you set your base. Now, it's not something that I ever do myself. On a wet base, these are... I'm shook, basically. I am so impressed. So impressed. I don't even know why I'm so surprised when I knew I liked the mattes and the vivid pigments, but I'm just once again blown away. I'm just a little bit speechless. That's lovely. I don't have anything negative to say. I'm really impressed with these mattes so far. So I'm going to jump into my next one, which is going to be the shade Bubbles on yet another 231. I thought this one might be a bit more powdery, but it looks okay. So again, just going to use that to blend things out. Again, I'm just having to build up the colour. I thought I wasn't going to be very impressed with this one, but I think it might be okay. Yeah, this one just seems to take a little bit more work, but I think it's going to get there. I'm going to bring it all the way into the inside. I've kept it quite high. I'm going to cut my crease quite high today. So just a little bit more work there, but looks nice and smooth. Definitely not as pigmented as the other shades. Gonna go back into a bit more of Pop Art just to make sure that that is nice and blended out and we haven't lost the colour. I feel like this might not be the smoothest of blends. I don't know if that's down to technique maybe. It's also not the worst. I think it looks nice on camera though. I don't know, I feel like I'm happy with that. I think I'm pretty happy with that. I would say that it's maybe not the fastest blending I've ever done. If you've got kind of really high quality eyeshadows, they're really easy to blend a lot of the time, and this maybe isn't that easy. It did take me a little bit of effort, but I mean, I'm quite pleased with the overall result for a 10er. So I am gonna go and cut my crease, I think, and then that way we can come back and play with some shimmers. All right, so I have now cut my crease. I used the white base for a change because I think I might use the white because I'm not 100% on the shape I've done. We're kind of gonna see how it goes. I mean, it's time to jump into some of these absolutely stunning shimmers, and I think the first one I'm going to take is Fake ID. Just going to make sure that my base hasn't creased and is still nice and even. I feel like I have more issues with creasing when using coloured bases. I mean, I know this one isn't coloured, but the black and the white one, I feel like I've had more issues with creasing than I have with 0.5. Have any of you had any issues. I don't know, it's a bit weird. Anyway, I'm just gonna take a flat brush. This feels very similar, I would say, to the shimmers in the Prism palette from Anastasia, and I kind of like them, so I think that's a good sign. I'm going to pop that on the center of the cut crease. The shimmer formula definitely has a lot more kick up in the palette than the mattes did. They are a little bit crumbly. Oh, I did have some fallout from the pink. I hadn't even noticed really, but I am getting a little bit of fallout now, but you can see straight away how easily that's applied and how nice that is. Look at that color. I haven't sprayed my brush or anything. I haven't done anything. It's just straight onto the base. It's just a lot easier to use than any of the shades in the Vivid palettes, any of the shimmers. Just gonna take a bit more of Royal to blend the two in together. It's just so easy, so quick to use. Really impressed with that first shimmer. I'm just gonna jump into Blank Stare, I think, just on a small flat brush, and just pop that in the top of the cut crease at the front, because I don't think I want the shimmer to go all the way. Not really sure why I'm bothering. That shade isn't really doing much. I am yet to find a good matte white eyeshadow, because this definitely isn't it. Not really added anything. I think it's just set the base basically. Right, so on another flat brush, this one is from Urban Decay. I am now gonna take Confused. Oh. Just such a pretty mermaid blue. Just popping that on the front of the cut crease. I'm just gonna bring it up where I used Blank Stare, because that didn't really do anything. And it seems to be layering over it quite well, even though technically the base is set there. So maybe these would still work quite well over a set base. And then going back into a little bit of Fake ID to blend the two out. Fake ID definitely has more kick up in the pan than Confused did. I mean, I've got fallout all over my face. They seem to blend in quite nicely together. So I would say that Confused was a little bit drier and maybe took a little bit more building up, but I mean, I still think it's a lovely colour. I think I expected it to be a little bit brighter, but I'm also not disappointed. I think it's really nice. I do have a bit of fallout. It's not as much as with the Vivid Pigments palette, I would say, but there is a little bit. So I would probably just say to do your skin first, which is what I normally would do, but for the sake of making my life easier for YouTube, I'm doing my skin first at the moment. Okay, the only thing I don't like about this look at the moment is just the sharp edge that I've got on the inside. I haven't quite decided what I want to do with that inner corner just yet, so I'm gonna do my lower lash line first. I'm gonna start by going into Royal. I'm popping that on the outer corner of the lower lash line just to connect everything up. Then on a Sigma E36, I think I'm just gonna go straight into Bubbles this time and blend it out and connect everything up. I feel like that shade is struggling on an E36. I don't know why. I'm gonna switch back to my Zoeva brush. I just normally quite like the Sigma brush for my lower lash line just because it's a bit smaller, a bit more precise, but it's quite a bit softer than the Zoeva brush and I almost felt like it wasn't sturdy enough. The product wasn't picking up as well. So that's just something to be aware of. Okay, for the front, I think I'm gonna take Peachy, blend that into the other shades and just bring it to the inner corner. I'm gonna just try and soften up my inner corner. So I'm just gonna take my MAC Mineralize Skin Finish just to blend the inside of the cut crease out. I think that's worked. I feel like it has. For my waterline, I'm going to take the LA Girl Neon Shockwave eyeliner in the shade Vivid. That is a very pretty eyeliner colour. I hope that's got good staying power because, oh, that is really, really nice. I really like that. I'm gonna take the Collection Glam Crystals liner in Cosmic Stars and pop that towards the top of the cut crease. Not done a huge amount, but it's just added a little bit of sparkle. Ooh, for my inner corner, I think I'm gonna go in with the Obsession Mega Moon highlighter. I might even use this all over my face later on because I think that'll be quite nice. Alright, I'm gonna go and finish the rest of the makeup off camera now, and then we'll come back and have a chat about this palette. Alright guys, that's it for the finished look. So I've just added some gems that I got on Amazon this week, so I just kind of had to use them. And I've put one on top of my lips because I haven't had my piercing in since I started work, and it feels a bit weird. I'm not used to having something there anymore, and I feel like it might fall off at some point in this recording. Anyway, I absolutely love this look. I really, really love how it turned out. Let's talk about this palette then. I'm really impressed. I think after the Vivid Pigments palette, I didn't really expect much from this one at all. I knew I was gonna like the mattes, but I was very apprehensive about the shimmers. If the shimmer formula was the same in these palettes as it is in this one, then I would have absolutely recommended these in my last video. The shimmers in this was so much easier to use, so much more pigmented. I did have a comment on my last video about the green palette saying that they're meant to be toppers rather than full-on kind of metallic shades like in here. They were still really difficult to work with, and these weren't. They worked amazingly with a brush. I am someone who wears acrylic nails. I have to keep them short for work. I haven't had them super long in a long time. It just means that I'm one of those people who doesn't want to have to dig my fingers into very small pans to use shimmers. I want to be able to use them with a brush, and I'm so impressed with these. Now I have used the most pigmented shades from the swatches. I would be curious to do a more neutral look using, you know, these shades because maybe it wouldn't be as intense, but I think using this on a wet base, you'll be fine. And even when I used the blue shimmer, when I used Confused over where I'd put the white shade, it still worked really well. The white shade, Blank Stare, yeah, no. I mean, it's a white matte shade. I still don't have one that I really like, so I'm not that surprised that I didn't like it, but I mean, overall this was a nice palette. Is it worth £10? I think the formula is. I don't think the packaging is. The packaging on this feels more expensive than it does on this almost. So yeah, I feel like for £10 I'd expect maybe better packaging, but in terms of the formula, this is a first impression, but so far with the formula, I really like this one. You know, once again, I really wish I owned the real thing because I would love to compare them, because if this even comes close in any way to the real thing, then it's a really, really good deal, and I'm looking forward to playing with this palette. Again, like I said, the biggest letdown for me is the white shade, but the shades that I knew I was going to want to use, purples, the pink, the shimmery blue, really, really good. I recommend this one. I think if you've never tried W7, then this is a really, really good one to get started with, because I've heard that some of their other ones aren't brilliant. This is one that I'm really glad I've purchased, and I'm glad to finally have the Riviera colour scheme in my collection. I have been waiting to have it in my collection. Anyway guys, I really hope as always that you found this video useful. If you did, do give it a big thumbs up, leave me a comment letting me know what you thought about it, and of course subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the next video, and I'll see you all on the next one. Bye guys!